call the meeting to order for Thursday, January 9th. It's our regular monthly meeting. If everyone will stand with me if able, if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and then to be followed by a prayer from Councilman Ulrich. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today in humility and faith. Thank you for all you've given us and the many blessings in our lives. We ask for your guidance and your strength. Show us the way and fill us with your courage and wisdom. Help us to remember your love and grace and to be faithful in our service to you. Give us the patience and understanding to face life's challenges with grace. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, first of all, I want to welcome everyone that's here today in the weather situations that we have. Hope everyone had a good Christmas vacation and a good January 1st New Year's. This being our first meeting, hopefully we're going to get everything for the new year off to a good start. And with that being said, I'm going to jump into the agenda items. Agenda item number 3, City Manager's Report. And just make sure, can you guys all hear us okay out there? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. First item is we want to introduce you to a new city employee who was actually new last month but wasn't here. So we welcome Boomer, who took the vacant position out of the golf course. So he brings a vast amount of experience for that area. So Boomer, you want to stand up and welcome aboard. The next item I want to update council on is we're continuing to update our IT infrastructure. So the last couple of months we've been experiencing some increased issues. The result of that has been outdated network switches. So we had been actually working with our IT company to replace those, and we've been getting some quotes and stuff for that. But it's kind of like as you make one improvement, then it exposes another weakness. And the most recent big step that we took was installing new firewalls. And then with that, that definitely exposed the bigger weakness in our network switch, which we were expecting and planning for that already. But we had to expedite that. But we accomplished that through getting a loaner switch from our IT company until we can purchase our own and get those installed. But it'll be the same switch. We'll just be getting new ones. But with that, our phone system was connected to that, so we had a lot of static and intermittent on our phone system for the past week and a half. But all that stuff's been resolved. The new switch has been installed, and now we're just going back and making some final adjustments with that. But this is certainly not the end of our IT upgrades. As we talked about in the beginning of all this is actually going to take a few years to actually work through this. And then it'll be maintaining it. But then, as you know, the past several weeks we've been experiencing our meter reading software and stuff. So we're still working through that and trying to figure out the issues with that. But that's a much more complex issue that we'll keep you updated with that. The next item I want to update you on is our Mercer report. So for several weeks now we've been waiting. 3 or 4 months ago, we gave the green light for Mercer to move forward on making those updates in our water treatment plants. They had ordered several parts, but the 2 main parts that they were going to be replacing were the chlorine analyzers, and those have been on, I don't want to say back order, but we've been waiting a long time for those to come in. Those have arrived, and now we're just waiting for Mercer and his crew to get out here and install those units. When I spoke to him last week, he said they were going to try to get out here either this week or next week. So we're hoping any day now that we're actually going to have that system in place and functioning the way it should be, so we're hopeful for that. The next item I want to update council on is, Derek, you want to stand up? So the big moment is all of our Public Works crew, as we've been able to purchase uniforms and get a uniform company for them. So we'll start seeing all of our Public Works crews all in uniform out there. So anyway, just wanted to.
Runway? Okay.
Tomorrow, we're gonna be doing
Take your high heels off.
a media, some sort of media thing and sending out a photo or whatever so citizens can see what the new look is, so they can recognize their city employees when they're out and about. So staff will be working on that tomorrow. With that, the next item, David, you have a report?
Yeah, council, mayor, if I can bring your attention to pages 1 through 12. I'm just gonna go over the highlights. We have 4 CDs, mature at Prosperity Bank. The first 2 totaling $744,000. We're gonna reinvest in Texpool at a rate of 4.56. And then the 2 smaller ones, we're gonna leave at Prosperity Bank for it's a 4-month CD. That's the page.
What was the Prosperity rate gonna be?
3.29.
329?
Is that, do
It's
you have
all
a
going down.
target limit on what you wanna put in Texpool, or are y'all planning on putting more?
That's for now. This is our, we haven't moved more money into Texpool for many years now, so we're into this phase and then see how that goes and then come back with another phase later on. We also can invest in Logic and Texpool are about the same.
So right now, that's your top performer.
And we had a meeting with Carlos was the gentleman's name, and I think very good meeting, about 2 months ago now. And then on page 5, we purchased the bucket truck for $228. Page 6, I'm just gonna give you, these are really the biggest purchases. The hydrovac machine was $89,000. And then, the hotel motel tax, both hotels are current on their payments. First they paid, December 31st, so they're current for now. Any questions, I would like to try and answer them for you.
David, I had a question. I understand we have to replace things every now and then. I noticed these office chairs, it's $729, and then the casters, but give the $729, is that pretty much what we would
So,
usually pay?
so the
About
casters
$250
are,
a chair?
yeah, they're like the casters on your chair, they're the inline roller skate.
Right.
They kind of save the floor, so it was 5 sets of casters. The chairs, these chairs we're sitting in right now were around $200 each, and those were $230, $240, something like that. So we're right in the ballpark of a good quality work chair.
Long-lasting.
Yeah, and typically, like the chairs we took from this council room moved next door. So they're about 5 years, they moved next door probably for another 5 years. So 10 to 15 years, we always move it down to something else. So it's not like we dispose of them every few years, but.
And it's been my experience that 200 to 250 range chair, you get a lot more mileage out of that versus a $100 chair. $100 chair, it's falling apart in 6 months, it's uncomfortable, people don't want to sit on it, we're sitting in them for long hours of time. People need to be comfortable in their chairs and they don't need to be falling apart and stuff. So you tend to start hitting that better quality threshold at that 200 mark, so.
If they're gonna last 10 years, that's longer than I'm gonna last.
Well, and, you can easily get 5 years out of that, and you've still got good padding and stuff as well, so. it's
Okay.
well worth that extra expense.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else questions?
That
Just give
hydrovac, is that working out well? Have we used it yet?
We've had training on it.
We had training on it, so,
So what do you think, Garrett?
I'm sorry.
What do you think?
Oh, I'm waiting to use it.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Give a nod when you're good. Thank you. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, David.
Kirk hasn't given me any.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good. Kyle? You're good, okay.
Derek?
While Derek's coming up, just a comment about Richard. Apparently, he's been here long enough, because notice when he introduced, he gave somebody's nickname, Boomer. Obviously, we all knew it was. Before, he would always, who's Butter? But see, now he knows who Butter is, right? Been around
I
long
did
enough.
that because I was instructed to do that, so I followed directions.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go.
We have a Boomer and a Butter, and you know who both of them are.
Yeah.
Everybody in here does, except Ricardo, correct? Right.
Yeah. They tell me don't try to pronounce the last name,
Oh.
just call me
Yeah.
by nicknames.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. New year, new look, like Richard said. I'm glad we got them, so we all kind of match, and we're all uniform, and people, you know, they're not calling City Hall trying, well, who's this at my house, and stuff like that, so. But, the last month or so, it's been pretty quiet. We had one water leak, by Park Drive, by Veterans Hall. That one, it was a little ongoing. We had, it's a 2-inch pipe, but we tried putting it together, but come to find out, when that 2-inch pipe was made, it was a smaller diameter, so we couldn't seal it all the way and everything like that. That's why it kind of went for, I think, like, 2 days or so. But then, we finally got that resolved, got that fixed. We had a few power outages, just from those little quick storms that have been coming through, or that came through, within the last 2-3 weeks. I know it was, you know, some of them were kind of major, you know, fuses that took care of, you know, like the nursing home and stuff like that, but we responded and got on it, you know, had them back on within that hour. Then otherwise, this week we met with Rise Broadband. Their game plan is to start doing line locates on Monday, and then come in the 20th and start construction. And the game plan, I think, is starting at the water tower, and, we have a map, you know, the locations and areas, but a lot of it's gonna be weather permitting also, but, that's gonna be one big project that's gonna be coming up is, they're gonna be running fiber. They told us, you know, about 4 months, so, but the game plan starts January 20th and work from there, so. So if y'all see a lot of, you know, construction, stuff like that, it's gonna be them running fiber. They talked to us, they have door hangers, they have signs, stuff like that, that they'll be notifying citizens in the area that they'll be working, you know, just to kind of let them know what's going on,
So where are they actually gonna be boring?
all around town.
So in, on the city
Well,
property
a
or?
lot of it's gonna be behind the curbs. It's gonna be behind the curbs, and then they're gonna put like little, kinda like your meter boxes and stuff like that. It's gonna be underground to where then if a resident's called saying, hey, I want service, you know, all they gotta do is just go from that box to the house or whatever, so.
So you have to bore from that box to your house to,
Well, yes, or like that, they said, it'll be kinda like when you get satellite, you know, they just barely put that cable underground going to your house, it'll be something like that. But the main line that they're gonna do, that they're gonna bore through town, they're talking about 24 to 36 inches, so.
And that'd be on the resident property side.
In the easement area.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
From the
so-
curb to.
Right.
Okay.
So that's gonna be coming up. Other than that, I mean, that's all, it's been, like I said, quiet month,
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
just ready to start a new year and move forward. Any questions, comments, concerns?
On that water leak, I want to thank the guys. I know they worked pretty late New Year's Eve, so that was
Yeah,
nice of them to get that knocked out, so.
yeah.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
Well, we're worried if there's an event there, New Year's Eve or whatever, because, I mean, we're kind of worried, like, okay, well, you know, how late do we gotta work for them to have water, so.
Thank you for fixing the pothole.
Yeah, no problem.
I went to work the next day and I went, wow, where's the hole? It was fixed. Thank you.
All right, anything else?
Good deal.
Thank you, Derek.
Appreciate it.
Chief?
Good evening again. First, let me start by apologizing that you did not get a copy of our report. And the reason for that is we have to work with to draw our numbers from the county, the CAD, and being a turnaround, we weren't able to get it into your packet for Black Friday. So I'd be more than happy to make copies for you. I should have done that before I showed up, but it's raining outside, and I didn't want to get them all wet. But I'll make you copies and you can go home with them, should you want to. But I will share, I'll echo what Derek said. Thankfully, we were quiet this past month. You know, with the holidays and things like that, our calls for service kind of came down. There were still 347 calls for service that we had to handle. They did have 195 traffic stops. Out of that, there was 5 arrests. But, you know, relatively, it was a quiet month. We did have a number of calls, many of you who may have experienced the fireworks and things like that. I personally probably answered 8 or 9 of those calls. I came out and worked with the guys till a little after midnight, and it was pretty good. One of the other things that I want to point out, I'll talk about it a little bit later on. I have a presentation with the street closing, but the junior posse, Mayor, you're familiar with the Harris County Junior Posse. They've been coming to town for years. They're coming on the 15th. I want to make sure that each of you know that you're welcome to come. We're kind of, staff's working really hard to have a pretty good blowout for them. All I hear about is all the fantastic things that they do in Hallettsville for this group. So we're gonna try to raise our game a little bit and get Chief Slop over there to run for his money.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we're still accepting or looking for we have applications. We have 2 positions and a corporal's position. Unfortunately, whether you knew or not, Corporal Mayer had decided to go into the private sector. So his last day with us was on the 29th of December. So we're scrambling trying to get that position filled. But I will tell you that we have strategized and moved our schedules around. We still have a supervisor on every single night of the week, as well as 2 officers. So we didn't reduce any of our coverage, losing him. But the troops are stepping up and filling in. And I'll answer any other questions you might have.
Well, thanks for covering that, because I wondered what had happened to the corporal situation, so thank you for stressing that.
Out of those 195 traffic stops, how many tickets?
Probably not as many as I would like, but I can't make them write tickets. And that's a current trend, for whatever reason, across the nation. I talk to chiefs about it all the time. I mean, I would write, years ago, I'd write 25, 30 tickets a day, you know, with 12-hour shifts. Newer generation doesn't like confrontation, so they'll document the stop through a written one, and we've seen a decline over the years, not just here, but everywhere else, because of it. It's just, they're afraid to be held accountable, and they have to put on, body camera, on video, on Facebook, and, it's just something that we're doing. There are tickets, I don't know yours, if you know how many tickets that were processed. There's a number of them, and I can add that to this from now on, if you'd like the difference between
That's fine. Nothing.
citations and warrants, but it's predominantly warrants. We don't have nearly the tickets that are set out by this county.
As far as officers, chief, there's still no viable candidates, actually.
I'm sorry, sir?
As far as the officer positions we're hoping to fill, no viable candidates yet.
We've gotten, probably for the last 4 or 5 days, into last week even, we've gotten a call a day. You know, somebody, we did a blast on Facebook advertising, in addition to putting it on TML and things of that nature, and we've gotten some traction. They'll call and, hey, I'm interested, tell me more about it, we'll get an email address for them, or we'll send them the personal history statement. That is, in law enforcement, it's about a 33-page document that you have to fill out. I mean, we want to know everything all the way back to who your 6th grade teacher was, right? I mean, it's pretty intrusive, and sometimes that will cause people not to do it. They won't fill it out, they won't get the time. Some of the people that we've been talking to have former law enforcement experience, so all they have to do is update it. So I anticipate getting some in, I'm hoping. And we just had a call today on a person who was interested in the SRO position, so, and one yesterday as well. So I'm confident, as I might have shared with some of you before, that I think after the first year, once the holidays are out of the way, people will, buckle down and decide what they want to do with their years next year. So I'm looking forward. And last year at this time, if you remember, we still had openings. We had 3 vacancies in January of last year. But it was in February, Corporellis came in, and then in March, we picked up Mayor, and then we picked up more, in April. So I'm hoping that it's going to happen. I'm optimistic.
Thank
That'll
you.
keep me up.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate y'all's presence on college, because that's kind of a,
Speedway.
that tends to be a pretty good runway, so.
It's kind of a racetrack.
Well,
What they call that? It's the phrase, you were talking about nicknames earlier, but Raceway College or
College.
Speedway, somebody refers to it all the time when they call. Yeah, we try to be out there.
Also noticed the presence out by Love's and constant truck traffic coming out of there. Really doesn't make any difference whether you have the right of way or not. Those trucks just come right on out and expect you to stop. So I do appreciate you guys being out there. That bus is still not gonna match up against that 18-wheeler. And certainly those cars won't. It's pretty shocking. So thank you for that.
And I will tell you, I don't know how much you know about it, but I'll finish with this. But we had, if you got wind of those gaming machines in one of the convenience stores and heard about that, we got strategic and contacted them and let them know. We ran an investigation and let them know that they were a violation of Texas state law. And they immediately shut the machines off and called the company, so they should be removed quickly. So, that broke down. We can go to Vegas just like that.
That's
There you
right.
Thank you, Chief.
Anything else? All right,
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chief.
Misty?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. All right, for this wonderful December that we had a little bit smaller than last year. It might be because how the holidays ran and stuff. We had 440 visitors, ending the year with 7,838 visitors for the year. We also, for some resolutions for the and during this year. I do still have the library motion classes going on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. We just did the Tai Chi movement, so next week we're gonna be doing the drum workout with music. It's pretty fun, so come join us on the 15th. And then we also still have our family story time, don't want to forget that for kiddos. We had some fun today with the Snowy Day Adventures with snowball fights and learning to build a snowman, Texas style. Okay. And this year too, for this month in January is the Friends of the Library membership dues, so don't forget to pay your dues if you'd like to be part of the Friends of the Library. And I hope you sign up to be a volunteer involved. Any questions?
How's the participation level in the chess?
And the chats, it's slowed down a lot. We had a lot more members during the summertime. David McCall, that does our chess program right now, he used to do it at the school. And he used to have more kids come because they come straight after school into it. But he decided to come to the library to open it with other kids and stuff. So it's still got some of the same kids, but it's also opened it up for the adults. So we have a few adults that join in with us.
Very good.
So. All good.
Thank you, Misty.
Thank you, Misty.
Thank y'all, guys.
Mayor, that concludes the city manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Move to agenda item number 4, citizens' presentations and comments. In accordance with the Texas Attorney General's opinion, any public comment that is made on an item that is not on the posted final agenda will only be heard by the city council. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made by city council. I don't think anyone has signed up to speak, just going to make sure that the audience hasn't missed that. Does anyone wish to speak in the citizens' presentation and comments? Move to agenda item number 5, proclamations and recognitions. There is a proclamation I'm signing tomorrow with St. Michael's for the Catholic School Week, but they weren't going to be here tonight, so I'm going to go tomorrow and sign that. It's pretty much what I do every year for them. Okay. We'll go to agenda item number 6, presentations. Anything?
Yes, Chief Brandt. You have his report. Like to give your report, please, sir?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. On our 2024 alarm total, we ended up with 117 total calls, 5 structure fires, medical calls, lift assist, 10, grass fires, 11, trash, control burns, 17, car and truck fires, 10, not hydraulics, it's, you know, you just plug a battery in and off you go.
It's a very faster response from us coming up to set up hydraulic pump and hoses, and it takes 5 minutes, so to get that going, then you jump on grab and go and start working. Hopefully that'll save 50 lives.
Well, y'all do an awesome job, so thank y'all for
Thank you, Butter.
everything you do.
Thank y'all for everything you do for us. We appreciate everything we do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to agenda item number 7, consent agenda. The consent agenda are items considered routine and will be acted on by one single vote. Any item may be requested by council members to be pulled from the consent agenda and voted on as a separate item from the consent agenda vote. Approval of the minutes of the December 12th regular council meeting. Approve resolution amending the authorized representatives to the Texas Local Government Investment Pool, Tex Pool. Approve resolution to participate in the Texas Smart Buy membership program of the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts pursuant to 271.082 of the Local Government Code. Approve notice of the general election on Saturday, May 3rd, and establishing procedures for said election. Approve election services contracted with the Colorado County Elections Administration for the May 3rd election. And approve agreement and confirmation of voting locations at Weimar City Hall for the May 3rd, 2025 local elections and for November 4th, 25 constitutional amendment election for the county. Does anyone wish to pull anything? Okay.
I would move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Agenda item number 8. Richard, what do you, okay. These
Yes,
businesses?
Mayor, Council, this item was to discuss, if you'll recall, going back to the budget work session during the summer, we introduced to you a fleet management program idea that would be funded through our current monies that we already had within our equipment funds, and then the maintenance cost. So there's, we looked at different programs out there, so we took that initiative, and Chief Jameson has a short presentation for you on where we're at with that. Chief?
Yes, sir. As the city manager mentioned, we wanted to look at a way that we could get more value out of our vehicles, we could reduce our fuel costs, reduce our maintenance costs, and things of that nature. And that's what we presented the initiative. With your direction, you sent us, you wanted us to solicit, put it out for other people to bid on. So we posted, we drew up the RFP, and I believe you have a copy of the
So that savings is based on like current maintenance,
That's correct.
history,
Yes, sir.
history of our maintenance and
He looked at it, it was part of the proposal, and he looked at it, and I think you gave him some numbers. We paid some $197,000 or something like that, just in vehicle maintenance.
over,
You remember that, Tom? Was it
One, a little bit north of 100,000 per year, and that was gonna be rapidly reduced from the information we were facing. And the proposal that we did, gonna be cutting about 60 to 65%, going forward, because newer vehicles require a lot less maintenance.
Well, and it's maintenance and repairs, so, and the more long-term that we're in, that the greater cost savings that we actually see over time. So, and we're maintaining a newer, more in-service fleet.
Yeah, the program is designed, not to talk over him, but the program is designed that we have 22 vehicles in the fleet. And in a 5-year period, we will replace all 22 of those vehicles. They'll all be in the program. So we'll begin to see immediate, well, I shouldn't say immediate, but at that point, we're gonna get more benefit every year they're following.
And clarification on the title is owned by Enterprise Fleet Management. We hold title to the vehicle. You, as the entity, you own the rights to the equity, as Chief said. Once we sell a vehicle in your behalf, that equity comes back to the city. We can cut a check for you guys. The recommendation would be, most of the time would be, let's put it back into the fleet, create that internal replacement fund, and the monthly payments will be lowered after we increase, or after we continue with the partnership.
So 22 vehicles, so this is police vehicles and public works,
City work,
everything?
yes, sir.
It excludes the heavy-duty vehicles in public works, so
Bucket
bucket trucks and stuff, it does not cover that.
The street sweeper that we don't have.
Eventually, there is a way we can help, not so much on the work. It's on a case per case basis, but as far as like the maintenance, if there's some tracking device that you need for that heavier equipment, there's ways we can help out with that.
So on the proposal for the first year, so it's 35,000 roughly, and then that, what we see next is, I mean, so it's two added together, is that right?
That is correct, yes. So, as we keep increasing the amount of vehicles we're replacing, we're gonna see that increment in the cost of the vehicle.
So how many vehicles would be going in the fleet first year one?
Your one, the initial plan was 4 vehicles.
4, and what about year 5 when the cost is 128?
That's gonna be all 22 vehicles already into the program.
And the length of the time for the contract, is it just year to year, monthly?
We requested in the RFP a 5-year program, and that's how it was designed, but the longer you do it, the more benefit that you get out of it.
Right.
As far as a limit, there's no limit. If next year, for X or Y reason, we decide not to continue the partnership, there's no penalty.
I know it's hard to.
Is this in the packet, is this the entire contract? I don't see anything in it one way or the other about the term or termination. So it could be that we don't have a final contract, but I'd like
We
to
don't,
look at that.
yeah, we don't have the final contract yet.
Yeah.
That'd be part of the
I
negotiation.
think
Yeah.
we would wanna at least see
Right,
what
and you'd see that,
the
yeah.
terms of early termination are, if there's a penalty or something like that.
Is there a number that we top out at? You know, once we have all 22 in, I guess that's probably more like year 6 through 10. You know,
By the 5th year, all vehicles are gonna be implemented into the program, so that lease cost that you see there, it's including all 22 vehicles, or that's today's dollars, right? Inflation, vehicle prices are higher, that's gonna be the same percentage that change, because that's what you're gonna see, on the change, which is basically everything in today's dollars.
So the minute you know, implemented into the program, what does that mean exactly?
So once the 22 vehicles are being managed or are into a leasing schedule,
So all new vehicles,
correct, yes, all new vehicles, the way you would see it is the longest vehicle in service is gonna be at max 5 years. You're gonna have some, it's gonna be a variation anywhere from 12 to 60 months, depending on the recommendation. And then at that point, leadership, they will make the decision of to keep running the vehicle or replace it.
And I don't know if you remember from the original presentation, the industry standard is pretty much 5 years for vehicle replacements. But some of those frontline vehicles are sooner, right? Because your PD vehicles, they're running the whole time. You know, it's more on an hourly basis, so those would be sooner. But we're on a, I don't know what you would say, we're on our average, we have, of those 22 vehicles, 5 or 6 of them are over 10 years old, and so on. I mean, this is a good way to fix an issue that we have.
so it seems like this is something that we've been interested in for a while.
Can we go backwards, like if we have all 22 vehicles in and then we wanna start moving out, can we go back to like 15, 7, 10?
You can always, if for whatever reason you want to stop the partnership, you can, we'll look at what the payoff amount is and pay those off at that point.
Well, right, what I'm asking is slightly different, right? Because once we get in, then by year 5, if we're gonna get out, we have to be in a position to buy 22 vehicles to replace what you're gonna take back
Yep.
when we terminate. So my question would be, can we frame it so that, let's say we say, okay, we like this for some, are we gonna be able to say, okay, this year we just wanna put 15 vehicles in the lease? You know, we're gonna go buy a truck for the city manager or the dog catcher or whatever we have vehicles for. I'm just wondering, is there flexibility, I see there's flexibility going in to the pool, but is there flexibility getting out of the pool?
Hopefully, this answers your question. If you don't have to run all 20 vehicles through our program. If at any point you decide to buy something else, through another vendor, there's no limitation.
Okay, that answers my question, thank you.
Good question.
So is this paid for out of the equipment fund?
Yes.
What do we allocate every year to the equipment fund roughly, do we know?
It varies, it's based on, we make a purchase from the equipment fund, and then we charge that department has to pay back the equipment fund, usually over about a 5-year period with interest, and that puts that money back into the equipment fund and keeps it
I
solid.
wonder how many we have financed right now through the equipment fund.
We have a list of that, it's probably 7-ish, give or take, yeah. So, because some we just paid off, I think nearly every year we're paying some off, so. But we looked at it and it's,
And that's all in the budget?
yeah. And when you look at the vehicle schedule that we worked out, I mean, this feeds right into a fleet management system and stuff, and it's supportive of it, so.
And any future sales that might occur, that money that is, I guess, made as a profit would go in, back to the equipment fund?
We
Or does
could,
it go- or
actually,
it could
we
go
would put
into
it
the-
back into our
either way.
package, which is basically the same money, because that's less that we have to pull from the equipment fund to pay that, because it increases our equity or the value, so yes.
Okay.
Which reduces the money that we're pulling from it, so
Right,
it's
so-
same thing in a roundabout way, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Is there history on if a police vehicle or any one other department is in an accident and it's done, how fast can it be replaced?
If, to answer that question would be, it depends on that type of vehicle.
Okay.
For example, PD Tahoe might take a little bit longer than a Ford Explorer PD rated vehicle, right? This is due to manufacturers. There's still some limitations of being able to acquire some Tahoe, PD Tahoe, for example. But rest assured that the team that's included in the partnership, once we get the notification, we'll work with the team aftermarket equipment and then deliver.
We face that all the time, getting what we need. Yep. Should be here in November, but it's January. It's on the way.
It'll
Yeah.
be their problem, not ours.
That's kind of
We're the ones that have to find the
the direction of my question is, do you guys have more manpower than what we would have had trying to replace a vehicle? Because you had,
Yeah, definitely. There's a division that would take care of the acquisition process, and another division that would take care of the aftermarket. We'll quote it out to X amount of vendors, typically anywhere from 5 to 15. And the questions being asked is what the cost of the equipment's gonna be, and also what the turnaround time is. We're seeing out of history in the last, I wanna say 6 months, we've seen some vendors come back and say 4 or 5 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and there's some that are coming back and saying 12 months. Well, of course, we're going with the other vendor, right? So those are the two biggest categories that we're making decisions on whenever we're sending a vehicle to a vendor.
and that doesn't change the pricing of our stuff when
That's
it's
correct. Now, it's passed on to the client.
correct. Yep.
So you see in the RFP, there's no increase.
Yep.
And so Enterprise, I think you may have made this comment last year when you were here about y'all's buying, purchasing power. Probably y'all get a Tahoe much cheaper than what we could go buy a Tahoe for.
Correct, yeah, so, we have the power to go directly with the manufacturer. You would see anywhere from a 3 to a 10% cost decrease, depending on how the vehicle and how early, or how, we're in the process we place the order. The initial order, I would say, not to give you too much information, that, without a visual, it's a little bit harder to understand it, but whenever a vehicle is released, the best time to acquire a vehicle is right after it's released. And then you'll see anywhere from 2 to 6 price increases during the model year. So our planning would be to make sure that we can place orders as the model is released. That's gonna be the most cost effective for the city.
And then you would realize that gain in equity when you turn it in.
See, I don't have a lot like in Borden, sitting with a whole bunch of vehicles waiting to be replaced. He doesn't know where Borden is, but yeah. You purchase as need type situation from customers.
Correct.
So I'm gonna come back to you because you're always our contract person.
I mean, I'd like to see the final contract, but, I mean, everything he's saying makes sense. It forces you guys to be on a regular schedule. And I've been here long enough that I've seen, that there's a tendency not to make the capital expenditure when the vehicle's running, and then we hit a bump where there's like, all of a sudden, 3 vehicles are out of commission, two are broken, and somebody gets injured or something. And then we're scrambling, trying to find vehicles.
A great approach to
Yeah,
take care of that.
and we struggle to provide routine maintenance, preventative maintenance. It's usually more in the repair after the fact, so,
A great approach, proactive.
So all the maintenance is covered, right?
yes.
Scheduled and unscheduled.
And that's what the number you said, 100 and something thousand on just maintenance? Is that what you said earlier? Yeah.
Be nice not to be in the after-the-fact world.
Yeah, yeah. Proactive, working in a good direction.
Make a motion to approve the city manager to enter into a contract of negotiation with Enterprise Fleet Management to provide city vehicle and maintenance services.
Second?
I have a motion from Tucker, a second from Roberts. It's open for additional discussion. Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ricardo, thank you.
It's too many
Much better
arms.
than the first time.
Yeah.
He's been practicing.
Okay, we'll go to, under business, item B, discuss, consider, an action on authorizing city manager to engage consulting services with Petty and Associates for tax incentives from Texas Film Corridor.
Mayor, council, so, the Texas Film Corridor, we've been working with them over the last couple of months. They have requested some tax initiatives or incentives, I'm sorry. I reached out to Petty and Associates to inquire if they would be interested in, working with us down this farther from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I've known Trent Petty for right at 20 years, just to be in full disclosure. But with that, Mr. Petty has extensive experience in development agreements, and tax incentives and working that up. So hopefully if our zooming and everything has gone right, he should be online, and I will let him take it from there. Trent?
Great. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Very nice to meet you all, and Richard, thank you for letting us know about the project, exciting project. Just by way of background, I'm an ex-Texas city manager. I started Petty and Associates way back in 1997. We do economic development analysis for cities and counties all over the state. We do not work for developers, we only work for cities, so our work is exclusively designed to make sure that
what's the cost?
It's an hourly rate, so based on that, so I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, we have 5 different classes of individuals that work on a project like this. I run all the projects, but farm those out, make it as efficient as we can. My rate is $300 an hour. It goes all the way down to $160 an hour for our support staff. This is probably an engagement, having done a lot of these, it's probably gonna be $10,000 to $15,000 is probably all you're talking about. One thing that we have done, this will be up to you, is one thing that we have done on incentive packages is if a development is serious about working with a city, we've asked developments to fund upfront money to the city for consulting analysis that the city has to incur, and that way those dollars are available to the city and it's not coming out of your general fund. It gives the developer some skin in the game so that you know that they're serious and that there's a reasonable expectation that this is a project that could come about. At the same time, it takes the risk off the city when it comes to paying consultants, because I may not be the only one involved in this. If you had to have an engineer or a soils consultant or anything involving infrastructure consulting to support a project like this, then those dollars are in the bank to be able to sort of help offset those costs. And that's one option, not a requirement, but an option that you may want to consider.
Are they talking to any other cities or Fayette County or anything, or just one?
Didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
As a question to the mayor,
The question was, are they talking to any other cities or counties? And my response was, they're just looking to do Weimer.
Mr. Mayor, why are they favoring Weimer?
Location, location, location. Us being in the I-10 corridor in the middle of Houston, San Antonio, and just south of Austin, basically the same location. The property that they have under contract at the moment, it's contingency contract, is right on I-10, which is ideal for them. They are looking for additional property. The 48 acres is what they have right now. They're probably looking for another 50 to 100 to do things. I'm actually trying to help them find those. Yeah.
Is that currently the property over by Lowe's?
Yes, Love's.
Lowe's,
Yes,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, okay, yes. And they are looking to annex that in once they get started. So everything would be basically Weimer, not the county, before they would do and I think the term that they're looking to do is the production tax. Correct, Mr.
yes.
Perry? Of course, he hit the nail on the head with all the tourism that would come here, the taxes that would be, the retail stuff that would be done, and other companies that will spin off from them being here. In February, they'll be here with a pack at 2% to you guys of everything that they can come up with that will educate you on where they are and what they're doing, what their future is.
They didn't fit electric service area, did they?
So, part of that is Fade Electric, but where you stick the initial pole to get in is in our territory. So we would be getting utilities from them, electric. Yes,
So it's all our coverage here.
correct. That coverage area is a very unique little horseshoe looking, but where they are, the initial pole that would come out of it, we've talked to LCRA, and they were in agreement that that would be under ours.
Can we prevent them from going through Fayette? In other words, picking another point of entrance for power distribution?
Couldn't answer that.
We'd like to do that.
Yes.
To just make double sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
want to lock that in and keep Fayette Electric out.
So our territory, this is the way the 48 acres is shaped, this being 155, and the territory almost kind of looks like this. It's just a little cutout right here is Fayette, but everything else on the outside is our territory. So, is that correct, Richard?
Yes.
Maybe we could approach Fayette about taking that over first, because there's no downside to us taking
Correct.
over that service area
Absolutely.
before Fayette County figures anything out.
Chances are that, you don't get a no till you ask,
Yeah.
but, if the initial hole that is gonna feed everything is right here, that's in our territory, so.
I'll tell you that the city of Weatherford is one of my clients, and they have their own power distribution company, and one of the things that we build into all of their agreements is that any incentive that the city is willing to give them are presumed on the fact that utilities will be provided by the city of Weatherford in case there's any competitive areas around it that may also want to serve utilities, and that's specific to Weatherford. In this case, electricity within the city of Granbury, there's also the option of other water providers too. So one of the things we want to be sure we do in the agreement is to make sure we identify all of the city services and tie that incentive to the provision of city services to the development.
Great comment, because that's exactly the direction they want to go. That's why they're wanting to be in Weimer, but they want to be Weimer, is the best way I can put it. They want everything to be attached to Weimer. And if the other properties that we're looking at aren't necessarily attached to that, unfortunately, that's not gonna be in our territory, but those other properties are more designed for building a western town type thing. That maybe not, obviously utilities would be used there, but their major hub headquarters, will all be within the city limits.
Mayor, one other consideration that you guys might want to look at, and we've done this for several other cities, is there's a provision in state law where a new development like this can elect to have their sales tax situs on site, which means that all of the sales taxable goods and services that this project would incur while under construction would be as if it were all sold in the city of Wyman. And in exchange for that, you can make an agreement with them to share that sales tax with the development, which gives them some money they wouldn't have had, and certainly gives you money you wouldn't have had. And that way, the sales taxes are being collected in Weimar and not just all going to San Antonio or Houston. That's been a pretty effective way to generate additional dollars on the front end of these projects as well.
I think they would be extremely open to that conversation. Yes, sir.
Still production taxable.
That's,
How much sales tax do you think this is gonna generate?
Harry, could,
Most of the sales tax on a project like this are gonna come from goods and services. The making of the film is not necessarily sales taxable, but everything that is sold on site that is either a retail item or a sales taxable service, such as having to bring in equipment, all of that has to pay sales taxes. So there's some pretty substantial sales tax dollars that can be attributed to a project like this.
and I think they're asking somewhere in the 20-80% is what they've told me before. That they were looking to get a 20% incentive, and then we would be getting the 80%. Now, that's just a ballpark number. It may be 21 or 22 and a 79 and 78 type thing, but that was just the initial conversation.
Well, I know, it seems like some of the stuff that I looked at, there was tiers to what's available out there, so.
Currently, it's something that we don't get money for, and obviously bringing more money and opportunities to Weimer, but they will be here next meeting to educate you guys on.
Yeah, do we have any ballpark estimate of what tax revenue is estimated from that? Or do they
I
know
think
that?
they are putting that package together if it's not already done. They have something that they were gonna provide today, but I said, don't give it to us today. I said you could give it next week or the following week, because right now we're just trying to take the steps to educate you guys a little bit on what incentive tax means. And you have an expert here that's kind of giving you guys some backgrounds on it. And to my knowledge of what my research has done, there could be some substantial money coming into the city, which will allow you guys to do a lot more things in the future that we don't have money for.
I mean, I think today we're just here, I mean, clearly it makes sense to hire someone who knows.
Correct, absolutely.
I mean, I've looked at 380 agreements, they're always 100 pages, and
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, you need somebody who knows and can cover your ass if things go bad and make you some money if things go good.
Are you willing to cover our?
Yeah.
What do we do about the cost?
Probably a good opportunity for you. One of the things, and I heard that the 20% factor, that's not unusual, and it's not unusual that an incentive just happens to equal the amount of equity that a project would have to go find in the contemporary loan, if they were gonna go finance this project. So one of the things that I think you would wanna do is make sure that you understood the capital source of money for this, and when that money can be expected, because if the capital stack is in any way upside down, then your risk factor goes up, obviously, much, much higher. If that capital ends up being mezzanine capital or super high expensive capital, that, really makes the project more difficult. And so that's one of the things that you would wanna do, is when you look at that cost benefit analysis, make sure that their capital stack has been identified in a way that we can understand what their cost of money is. And that kinda helps us understand the amount of risk that we would be willing to, take to be able to make that project happen.
Yes, sir. One number that has been told to me was 134 million, something like that is what they're reaching out for. Their investor part of it. And depending on what council says today, they are ready to have conversations with you if that's what council approves.
Now, just by way of comparison, I believe that San Marcos project was about a total of $267 million invested. I think the city was able to collect about 11.5 million on that project, in the years. When their incentives kicked in, I believe the combination of Hayes County and the city equaled about 5.1 million on that 267, so you're looking at about an overall 2% contribution in that case. But what I don't know about that project, and we would need to know, is are there any other incentives involved? Because in some cases, the city will offer to do in-kind contributions like roadways, water sewer extensions, all the things that go along with a project like this, and that's gotta be quantified in terms of the overall commitment that the city makes. So I don't know what the San Marcos, the specifics were, but I know that from a cash perspective, they limited themselves to about 5 years of reimbursement, and between them and Hayes County, about $5.1 million.
Nice numbers. But that'll be decided down the road, if you guys decide to do this today. But they'll be here next month to make their presentation. With the packet, Mr. Scardino. Yep. With more broken down numbers and pro forma type thing.
And so if we do move forward with this and then they decide to drop out, then we're spending money that, for this service that we're not, I guess, we wouldn't be getting anything out of it. Is there a way of making, I know you mentioned to have them pay for the service to kind of, at least make it, hey, are they really interested in doing this? Could we go forward with that, at least to say, if they're wanting to pay for this service, well, then that kind of means that they are serious about it? So we're not stuck with that?
Yeah, we can have those conversations, but it's, like I said, we're paying as we go, so
Correct.
it's not, we're not having to pay anything up front by any
Correct.
means, so
Okay.
it's.
Are you on the clock now?
So this is I told Richard, this is a pro bono call because, he's a friend and I've known him a long, long time, and anything we can do to answer questions that you consider whether or not to do something like this, we're gonna be sure and answer, and we won't start working officially until you sign the engagement letter and feel pretty good that the project's got some legs.
Okay.
Kyle, if you want, y'all can cap it and say, come back after 10 grand, or come back
in potentially $5 million in 5 years kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not bad for $10,000 or whatever that amount is.
Yeah.
But they would cover it, that'd be nice. It wouldn't-
Oh, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
and I'm even, I'd be good with the cost sharing, just so we both have skin in the game.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're gonna shy away from that because they have put the upfront money on that property over there, depending on how this part goes, because that's part of what they need.
Yeah.
Their investors are interested in making this happen in Weimar, so they've already put money up to do things. Yep. And looking to do more property, so this whole project can be a win-win-win situation.
Certainly understand the financial benefits, at least the possibility of that, if it all came to fruition. Everyone around this table has been in, a Weimar Wildcat for a long, long time. And I'm new to the situation, Richard's new to the situation, so we want to certainly provide for the city, but I do have a bit of a pause to wonder, does the movie industry and all of the culture that comes with it match the Weimar culture as it exists today, and at least a great percentage of it that we'd like to hold on to going into the future? That's why so many of us moved here, because it's a special place. And that culture seems very removed from what we represent in Weimar, it seems to me.
I respect that comment, half question. This is only a humorous response to that. We let you two in, right? That's only a joke.
Well, you didn't know we were coming. Well, you
Correct.
knew he was coming.
That's only a joke, that's only a joke.
But, I mean,
So,
I am concerned about it.
I understand that, I respect that, yeah. It's hard to fill out an application to move to Weimar, that's the best way I can respond to that. I think it's Weimar's, as the senator stood here one council meeting and said, Weimar's going to grow, and
It
how
is.
we manage that is being proactive, the word that I use. Years ago, the exits were shut down in Weimar and we didn't let anything in. No disrespect to the 4 council people that were here long before I sat in this chair. And it's been a little time to make sure that those exits were open. And we have other things that will create a different culture in Weimar, but that shouldn't change Weimar. Especially since we're developing on the other side of I-10. Yes, people will live here, but they'll live in Columbus, they'll live in Schulenburg, but times are changing, and we have Austin people, San Antonio people, we have more Houston people living here, moving here than anywhere else, and that folks, they're out of Houston. Yeah, they may have a different personality, but that comes with any city in the state of Texas.
Well, cultures are constantly evolving, and the way that a lot of areas are doing development today, that they screen them so well that you can drive down the interstate and you can't even tell something is part of another city, because they really come up with some very creative ways to screen stuff. But, it's, if we're gonna be healthy and do some of the infrastructure, meet some of those infrastructure needs that are facing us, we have to have some developments like this to take that relief off of the citizens. So otherwise, all of that's gonna fall directly on the citizens. So, he's been a part of experiencing a lot of how those developments get implemented. So I think he can bring the value to help us with that piece. And I think we can still preserve the main things that people are concerned with losing. I think there's a way to achieve it.
And mine was only in humor. I'm just
understand.
repeating that.
I just know that I think about how California looks at things and how we look at it here.
Yep.
That's why a whole lot of California is moving here.
Correct. We already have 2 businesses in Weimar that are California-owned, by the way, and nobody knows that. Does anybody know who they are? See, that's my point. Well, you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Lost part of my audio feed, Richard, so if there's any questions for me, I'm not sure of you guys at the moment.
Okay, well, you're good for now if you can hear me, so.
Everybody good?
Can you,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, with council's permission,
Thank you, Mr. Petty.
we'll bring Petty and Associates on as fast as possible and get them engaged in this.
So we need that's an action item.
Richard could potentially be a movie star.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the city manager to engage consulting services with Petty and Associates to represent Weimer in developing tax incentives for the Texas Film Corridor.
Can we add to that motion or something on that to put a
Oh.
price,
About the,
the splitting of the cost or something? Can we include that in the motion?
yeah,
It's your motion.
I mean, yeah, we can, add that in to put a cap on our splitting the.
It's just there for the negotiation
Right.
piece. That's correct.
Sure, that's fine, we'll split the cost,
If possible.
yeah, if possible.
Okay, got a motion, is there a second?
If we can add that, I'll second it.
Okay.
You have what you need, Dolores, for that one?
I got it. So I have a
Sorry,
motion from
Dolores.
Roberts, a second from Christian. Any additional discussion?
So what are we actually committing to tonight? Just negotiations or the
Him to
tax
represent.
incentive itself?
Yes,
Basically to hire Petty and Associates to start negotiating the agreement with the Texas Movie Corridor.
yes.
We're not agreeing to the agreement with the movie corridor. It's,
All those steps are yet to come.
Correct.
right,
Right.
yes,
Whether or not we really want to do that, what it means,
That's
what it
next
looks
month.
like.
correct.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you, Trent. We'll be in contact with you. You can see.
I don't know if he can see you, but can you hear us? Oh, his audio must be,
Audio. Click him. Interrupt your motion.
You can hear me, Richard, I texted you, I cannot hear you guys at all right now.
oh,
I'm texting him.
Okay, we'll move to agenda item under business, letter C. Discuss, consider,
text him.
and action on closing South Mechanic Street for Harris County Junior Posse on February 15th. Chief, I'm assuming you're up there for that, okay?
I am,
Okay.
just like I drew the short straw.
Yep.
Now, we had already kind of briefly talked about it, the posse stuff, and they've been doing it for years. Do you even know how many years they've been coming?
Oh,
20,
many.
As long as I've been
I
on
was gonna
council.
say, Roy Frey before he got on.
Some of the horses have gone to pasture.
Yeah. We've seen new horses.
So we haven't really closed streets for it before, but because where we're at is, they have fire chief's gone up and partnered with, Butter and the fire chief, they're gonna help with chili. And I guess, Lauren and the assistant spoke to the Lions Encore yesterday, and I guess they're gonna make cornbread muffins.
Oh.
The school, is getting involved, different things like that. She's working with the cheerleaders and, band, and I think they even reached out to the FFA, but I think they have their sale that afternoon. So she still hasn't, they had to show the Friday before, but then I think their sale is that afternoon, so I'm not sure how much they'll be able to, probably be getting their animals ready for sale. At any rate, the concept is that when they arrive, and they're supposed to be here arrive between 11 and 11:30. If you don't know, they started in Columbus, and they actually started in Houston, but that day, this particular day, they're gonna start in Columbus and ride all the way to Hallettsville, and they'll happen to stop in, Schuler as well, along the way. So, they'll get here probably between this part to the railroad tracks, so that we don't have vehicles coming in and out, because fire department will be coming back and forth for chili, and if it's warm, we're gonna do it under, we've already worked with Phil Bank, and they're doing it under the pavilion. It's warm. If it's not, we'll be in here, like we were last year, it was pretty cold last year, but, just a place for them to have the support group that comes with them, there's 6 or 7 trailers, and things like that, that they come along, and, these close down the street, that's the reason we're doing it. And again, I wanna welcome you to come, cause they'll come and read a proclamation, and then they sign the baton, because they do the actual Pony Express ride, a mile leg. These kids are wonderful, and, if you haven't taken the time to look at what they do, it's pretty impressive. They've been doing it for 69, 70 years or something. It's a pretty neat program that they have. And it's the announcement of the Texas Rodeo or the Houston Rodeo. And a lot of our kids in Weimar show at that rodeo. So it's a nice way to partner with them to make the announcement and announce the rodeo. And if you come out, you might be fortunate enough to see somebody on a horse riding out of town with them. So that kind of hooked me up.
I wanted to know how far you were gonna ride.
No prisoners, I've been told, so that's very, very good. I'd love to have you out. Just need that authorization to close the streets.
I would so move.
Second.
Have a motion from Councilman Ulrich, a second from Councilman Tucker. Any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item D under business, discuss, consider, and action on changing the start time for council meetings. And I think that is from Councilman Roberts.
Yes, I asked to, see if we can go back to our original 4 o'clock start time. I know we said this was a trial period of trying to see how many chairs we can fill with starting later, and it just hasn't been, there hasn't been too many seats in the chairs, so, I would like to make the motion to change the time back to 4 PM. I just made my own motion, but y'all can chime in.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Roberts. Entertain a second.
I'll second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. It's open for additional discussion. That's
I
quiet.
would love it.
I don't know,
I'll come more.
I don't know, I think, I think it's kind of empty chairs, because there's really not been many issues. And next thing you're going to hear is when there's issues that come about, the citizens won't be able to attend because they're going to be at work at 4 o'clock. Myself, Mr. Tucker, I ran on that.
Did too.
And I don't plan on taking my word back, so I'm gonna say no. So I apologize, no hard feelings.
I don't think anybody has hard feelings around the table about stuff. We have a good
I
council.
don't feel that us 5 should be fielding any phone calls about, I can't make the meeting because it's at 4, and whether they can or can't, if there's that 1 or 2 times a year, we're giving them the opportunity. And, yeah, we could probably all pick a different time throughout the day that worked for us. Fact is, we go with what could be best suited for the citizen, and whether we probably agree with it or not, but make it available, so.
I think that's it. If you make it available, they don't avail themselves of it, then at least we've provided it.
Any other comments? Okay, I'll go for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion is declined for, okay, and we'll move to agenda item number 9, future agenda items.
Mayor, I'd like to bring the definition of family back again. I think hopefully Bo will be here. He's worked on the definition for me. And
Yeah,
presented it.
what else do y'all need from me?
Well, I think what you presented was fine. for your recommendation, it's just whether or not, you know, we wanna do that. It's well written,
I mean, it's, yeah,
it's provided a little bit more definition.
it brings some clarity to it.
Yes.
That's, yeah, it's just, you know, it's not a legal issue, it's just whether or not I want to change definition.
So I'd like to see that.
Okay. Anyone else on anything? Announcements?
Gadinky is quickly approaching, May 10th, so it'll be here before we know it. So we've already rounded the corner into the new year, and we're on our way, off and running,
Just a party every day.
right?
Council have
I was
any
gonna make
announcements?
a horse comment, but
Hey.
giddy up, here we
Yeah,
go.
here we go.
Anybody else have an announcement? Okay.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.